Okay, imagine a manager 20 years ago. No digital age, no remote work, completely different cultural standards. To become successful, they needed very different skills than we need today. And it's obvious why. We simply face different challenges. Today, I will share with you 5 skills that you as a manager will need to succeed in a modern working reality. Let's go. And the first skill is inclusivity. Wait, there is a reason for that. Let me explain. The economy that we live in right now is a service-based economy versus the industrial-based that we used to have before. A manufacturing-based economy and the society has a production factory in its core, in the core of the economy. And on these factories, you always have very clearly defined roles that are needed for certain steps of manufacturing process. But today's world is very different, and we have millions and millions of occupations, and in general, economy and consumer demand moves to personalized services. What does it mean? That even if you are very different from people around you, there is still a chance that there is a client that exists that would require your service. What does it mean for a business? It means that businesses should be as diverse as the clients they serve. How do you as a business create products that would serve these different people? Well, first you create teams that are having the same level of diversity that your clients. So you bring very different people together with the goal of creating these fantastic products. You can see where I'm going with it, right? As managers, it's our job to create these teams. And to do that, we need to be inclusive. Being inclusive means, first, respect the diversity, meaning respect and welcome in a team people who are different or different from you or different from other people in the team. It is to give them equal opportunities for growth, for career advancement, and not favoring the ones that feels or look more like you. It means to show, well, empathy and understanding to, not only experiences of these people, but also their points of view, their perspectives, being able to listen to them and at least maybe try to understand other points of view. Being inclusive means addressing biases, challenging stereotypes, and in general, ensuring that different voices are heard in the decision-making process. Now, here's a grain of salt. As per my best knowledge, the research consensus tells us that diverse teams are not guaranteed to be successful. And it kind of looks like a reversed bell curve. So compared to a non-diverse teams, they have a higher chance of either performing much worse or performing much better. And as a manager, I can 100% understand that. Because if you have a very homogeneous team, like if you have very similar type of people, a team that is not diverse, it's easier for them to agree on things. They don't have a lot of opinion clashes, they understand each other easier and faster, and let's say it comes more naturally. But if you as a manager have a skill of managing a team of a high diversity, there is a chance that you will be able to bring this team to a level of performance that will be unattainable for a non-diverse team. Or you also have a chance to totally screw this up if you will be ignoring the nuances of how you should manage a diverse team. In the end, your skill as a manager of working with inclusivity can make or break the success of your team. Skill number 2 is digital literacy, basically to be tech savvy. Because, okay, come on, even if you're not a digital native, there are things that are not optional in 2024. And I'm not only talking about how to connect to a Zoom call. As a manager, you need to be comfortable with digital tools and you need to be able to learn new ones quickly. Because technologies streamline the processes, drive innovation, improve productivity. If you avoid technologies yourself, how can you ask your team to innovate? But there is another aspect of tech savviness, and it is how do you work with data. Today is a data-driven world, which means that you as a manager need to be able to make sense of data, use it to adjust your strategies, to make a data-driven decision-making. Tech-savvy manager that uses the data wins. As simple as that. Skill number 3 is cultural competence. The big trend is we're kind of getting more global. We have the remote work now that is more popular than ever, which means that we can have people from different parts of the world working in one team, and it's kind of easier than it used to be. Like, don't get me wrong, it used to exist before as well, but from 2020 it just accelerated. So now as a manager you should be able to manage this global cross-cultural team. And I mean, these people, they did not move to the country where your business is. They don't assimilate there outside of work. They actually stay in fully remotely in their countries, in their cultures. And the only place and space where different cultures are meeting each other is during the working day. Having a cultural competence practically means to respect and value other cultural backgrounds, which means not making judgment that your culture or any other culture is more superior than others. Be sensitive to these cultural differences. Let's start with at least knowing about these cultural differences. If you have zero clue what I'm talking about, there is a book that is called Culture Map that very nicely explains different fundamental cultural differences between people. So for example, there are some cultures that are more task-based and there are some that are more relationship-based, and different countries, different cultures are on different places on the spectrum, the task-based versus relationship-based. And knowing that and understanding that will help you as a manager to be more sensitive towards these differences between different people in your team. But cultural competence is not only about that, because on top of all that I just said, you still need to build a hopefully high-performing team from all these people. So knowing about these cultural differences, you can help people in your team to collaborate better, to interact in a more efficient manner. You will know when and how to support them and how to use strengths of everyone. Skill number 4 is emotional intelligence, or EQ. In a nutshell, emotional intelligence means ability to understand and manage emotions, both your emotions and people around you and people in your team. You can tell me, okay, why should I even care about how people feel? And the reason is not just to be a good person, although it is good to be one. If you as a manager are unable to detect and understand other people's emotions, you won't even be able to spot when some of the people in your team will get unhappy or they will get burned out. And here's the thing, unhappy and burned out people don't perform well. It will simply sacrifice your efficiency as a manager. And also, if we set aside the team factor, as a manager you also have a lot of stakeholders, and they're all human beings, which means they'll have emotions. Not always they are acting or thinking in a rational manner. And it is super important to navigate it. Sometimes understanding the emotional landscape is even more important than an ability to understand facts. And the skill number 5 is agile leadership. I don't know if you like it or not, but the reality is agile is so much embedded right now in a lot of project management processes, even in generally the organizational processes of so many companies. Agile is basically a methodology that is based on very small increments of what you do, with a lot of focus on how do you adapt to changes, which is super relevant for a lot of modern businesses. So most likely as a manager, you will benefit from knowing agile basics, like and agile practices in general. And with that, there is a chance that you will make the work of your team actually more adaptable and customer-centric. And agile, especially now, is a little bit of a difficult topic because there are like battles about if modern agile is not the agile that it used to be, or how did we screw agile, or is it still working? It's like Attack on Titan level of the battles that I hear and that I observe here and there. But that's not the point. The point is, at least you need to know what the hell it is about. And by the way, if you're already a manager but not a director yet, I made a video about how to make the most of your team while it is still small. Thank you so much for watching, and I will see you there.